build a stairway and memories a lane. We'd walk right up to heaven and bring you back again. It broke our hearts to lose you, but you did not go alone. For part of us went with you the day God called you home. God looked around his garden and he found an empty place. Then he looked down upon the earth and he saw your precious face. He put his arms around you and he lifted you to rest. God's garden must be beautiful. He always takes the best. Yes, he always takes the best. We knew that you were suffering. We knew you were in pain. We knew you'd never get well on this earth again. So he closed your weary eyes and he whispered, peace be thine. Then he took you up to heaven, so gentle and so kind. God looked around his garden and he found an empty place. Then he looked down upon the earth and he saw your precious face. He put his arms around you and he lifted you to rest. God's garden must be beautiful. He always takes the best. Oh, God's garden must be beautiful. He always takes the best.
Well, a beautiful song to begin today's service. Well, good morning everyone and welcome and thank you for being here today. It does mean the world to Betty's family to know that they have your support and your friendship at this sad time. Well, my name is Gina Breakey and on behalf of Scott and Warren from the Gippsland Funeral Services, it is our honour to have been invited to conduct today's farewell for Betty. It is our hope that every part of this morning will honour her in a meaningful way and truly reflect on the many things that made Betty the special lady she was. Well, firstly, to everyone here in the chapel, welcome, and a very warm welcome to those joining us via the live stream. There are a few close family members and friends who can't be with us in person, but we do hope that you feel a part of today's farewell. As each of you here in the chapel and those watching online remember your own special memories of Betty, may you be warmly reminded of how much she has meant to so many. Well, it is with sadness that we are gathered today, but it is also with grateful hearts we are here to celebrate the life of Elizabeth Jane Sutherland, or Betty as she was known by you all. Today memories will be shared and you will all feel a sadness that Betty is no longer a physical presence in your lives. However, in spending this time together comes the warmth of a life lived and a love and many friendships shared, and memories that will live on long after we say farewell. Today, we will give thanks for Betty's life and we will honour her memory with this dedicated moment of warmth and much affection. Well, I would like to begin by acknowledging those who are most special in Betty's life. She was the devoted and loving wife of Ron, who is no longer with us. She was the loved mother of Joan, Maureen, Rose, Jack, Heather, Kevin and Nicole, and she was a cherished mother-in-law, Gran and Granny G. Along with Betty's extended family, including her sister Lois, who I believe is with us today, you were all an important part of Betty's life, and I'm sure if she could, she would thank each of you for the friendships and the love that you shared. Well, summing up a person like Betty is going to be a difficult thing to do, for no eulogy or story will ever truly capture her journey. No matter how well each of you have known Betty, our words today will never truly do her justice. Each of you here have shared different experiences with Betty. Each of you have known her in different ways, and there are many things that you all have in common. At one time or another, I'm sure your lives have been touched by her determination and her strength. Betty had a straight-to-the-point nature. She was practical, and her life revolved around family. She was a devoted wife, mother, and grandmother. Today's service is simply a lovely way to remember these special things about Betty, and it is a chance for you all to be grateful that she has been a part of your lives. Well, the value and meaning of life consists in living it and living it well. Reaching 89 years of age, Betty has lived a full and happy life. By honouring her memory here this morning, we are affirming all that was meaningful to her, and we are paying tribute to her life, which was lived with purpose and with meaning. Betty did live her life, never wanting or needing a lot of fuss made of her. Today will simply be a chance to honour her memory, for you all to remember the happy times that you've shared, and to acknowledge how privileged you were to have shared in her life. This service will be a simple and sincere celebration of Betty's life. Well, in preparing for this service here this morning, I recently met with Joan, and she shared with me a little about her mum and what she has meant to you all. Betty was a tough cookie, and no matter what life threw at her, she tackled things head on, and she gave everything her best. Growing up on a farm, Betty was hardworking and practical, and she always made the best with whatever the family had. She was resilient, and she just really got things going for herself. Betty devoted her life to her family, and she would do anything for them. She was remembered as someone who would tell you how it was. She called a spade, and she was often heard saying, "I know it's not my business, but." Betty also loved to dance, and she loved listening to country music and often played it so loud that the whole of Traralgon could hear her. There were so many stories and memories shared, and with the help of her family, Betty's eldest daughter, Joan, has pieced together a brief eulogy of her mum's life, and I would like to now invite Joan forward to share with us just a little about Betty's life.
Many of you have travelled long distances to join us, and we are especially grateful for you for doing so. Mum was born Elizabeth Jane Smith on the 16th of March 1933 in Currumborough. She was the second child but eldest daughter to Lillian and Lister Smith. Her elder brother Lester and her sister Patricia both predeceased her, but her younger sister Lois is with us today. I spent time having a lovely chat with Auntie Lois about their early life in preparation for helping put together today's eulogy. Of course, some of that didn't make it here. Mum wouldn't want all her secrets being let out. Her father was a farmer, and her mother milked beside him in the early days of Mum's life revolved around the running the day, being her support through appointments and tests, making sure she understood exactly what was being said, or being her advocate during very distressful times when Mum was unable to do it for herself. But especially for being our voice when we were unable to be with Mum in her final moments. Thank you.
Joan, that was truly beautiful. I know you had some help from your siblings, but it was just presented beautifully and a really fantastic summation of your mum's life, and certainly gave us an insight into the sort of beautiful lady she was. And one thing I'm sure that the grandchildren and great-grandchildren in this room are so thankful they won't get to taste castor oil or eel. I'm sure that's probably something they're very happy about. And as Joan did mention, the family tree, which obviously Betty didn't get to see finished, I'm sure she would be very proud of those little faces, and that will be at the refreshments when we finish, so you can have a look at all of the beautiful grandchildren as well, and great-grandchildren. On that note, refreshments is going to be held as a luncheon at the Greyhound Club, which is just down the road here on the right-hand side, and I know that Betty's family warmly invite you to join them for lunch when we finish here today. We are headed to to the graveside, which is just outside. But after the committal, then lunch is going to be served, and Betty's family warmly invite you to join them. Now, I know it's not an easy thing to do, but if there is anyone that would like to share a memory or a story, there is a chance to do so. Less formal setting at the Greyhound Club might be better to share your memories. So if there isn't anyone to share a tribute at the moment, I am going to invite Maureen forward. She has chosen a beautiful poem. Well, actually, no, Betty has chosen a beautiful poem. Betty chose 3 or 4 or 5 or 6, actually, poems to share today, and her family have narrowed it down to a couple, and Maureen's going to share one titled Tomorrow. That will lead us into a photo presentation. Thanks, Maureen.
Oh, big step. Thank you. Thank you for coming today. And this is a little poem that Mum loved. It's called Tomorrow. When tomorrow starts without me, and I'm not there to see, if the sun should rise and find your eyes all filled with tears for me, I wish so much you wouldn't cry the way you did today, while thinking of the many things we didn't get to say. I know how much you love me, as much as I loved you. And each time you think of me, please try to understand that an angel came and called my name and took me by the hand and said my place in heaven was ready. I missed a line. And that I'd have to leave behind all those I dearly love. But as I turned to walk away, a tear fell from my eye. For all my life, I'd always thought I didn't want to die. I had so much to live for and so much yet to do. I thought of all the yesterdays, the good ones and the bad. I thought of all the love we shared and all the fun we had. If I could relive yesterday, I thought just for a while, I'd say goodbye and kiss you and maybe see you smile. But then I fully realised that this could never be, for emptiness and memories would then take a place for me. And when I thought of worldly things that I'd miss come tomorrow, I thought of you, and when I did, my heart was filled with sorrow. But then I walked through heaven's gates. I felt so much at home. When God looked down and smiled at me from upon his golden throne, he said, "This is the eternity that I have promised you. Today, full life on earth, it passed, but here, it starts anew. I promise no tomorrow, but today will always last. And since each day is the same, there's no longing for the past. You have been forgiven, and now at last you're free. So won't you take my hand and share my life with me? So when tomorrow starts without me, don't think that we're apart. For every time you think of me, I'm right there in your heart." Thank you. Oh, thank you.
Thanks, Maureen. As I mentioned, Betty had chosen a couple of poems and readings to share today, and that's one that certainly I'm certain she would want you, those beautiful words that Maureen shared, that Betty would want you all to know. Thank you for sharing that, Maureen. Now, with 7 children, it was hard to narrow down photos, but the family managed to do so, and we have a lovely photo presentation now with a couple of very special songs. So I do invite you to sit quietly and enjoy a trip down memory lane of Betty's life through a photo presentation.
Looking forward, looking back, I've come a long way down the track, got a long way left to go, making songs from what I know, making sense of what I've seen, all the love we've had between you and I along the track, looking forward, looking back. There are strange days full of change on the way, but we'll be fine. Unlike some, I'll be leaning forward to see what's coming. Looking forward, looking back. I've come a long way down the track, got a long way left to go, making songs from what I know. If I'm alone at night, I can see through all triviality of the day, and I'm okay. I just think of those who are dear to me, looking forward, looking back. Got a long way left to go, making songs